Good morning students, welcome to our today's session. Hope you all enjoyed last session and understood the story. Today we are going to discuss second part of the same story, Lost Spring, written by Anis Jenk. The second part is titled as I Want to Drive a Car. The theme of the story is same. It is the misery life of children who lost their childhood because of poverty in their family or illiteracy in their family. In this session, we are discussing the story of another boy named Mukesh who is living in Firozabad. His family is a bangle making family living in the streets of Firozabad. The people in that village believes that their destiny is they are destined to make bangles. It is their fate. But Mukesh is a different character who wants to become a mechanic, motor mechanic. He believes that through his determination, he can change his fate to become a bangle maker and he can become actually a motor mechanic. So let us see what does this story tells us. Lost Spring Part 2. I want to drive a car. In this chapter, the author Anis Jenk is talking about the bangle making industry in Firozabad. The children working in the bangle making industry in Firozabad. The bangle makers of Firozabad are exploited by many due to their lack of education and awareness. All these people take undue advantage from them. Many moneylenders and middlemen take away the greater part of their earnings. The owners of the factories force their children to work in hazardous conditions where workers go blind and suffer from many other diseases. Policemen, politicians and bureaucrats also conspire against them. The fear of being beaten up and put behind bars does not let these bangle makers raise their voice against the injustice and maltreatment of these people. The beautiful bangles spread beauty and happiness all around, but they themselves are forced to live and die in squalor. In Firozabad, the author Anis Jenk meets Mukesh, a young boy who expresses his desire to be a motor mechanic and to drive a car. He wants to be his own master. Mukesh family lives here amongst other bangle making family, all engaged in making bangles, working in the glass blowing industry. Completely unaware its illegality, 20,000 children like Mukesh work in the glass furnace with high temperatures in dingy cells, often losing the brightness of their eyes. Mukesh takes Anis to his home. Amidst the stinking lanes chalked with garbage, they see hovels with crumbling walls, wobbly doors, no windows on the way. When they enter Mukesh's house, a half-built shack thatched with dead grass, they see a young woman. A frail young woman is cooking the evening meal for the whole family. She is Mukesh's elder brother's wife, the daughter-in-law of the house, already in charge of 3 men, her husband, Mukesh and their father. The father is an impoverished bangle maker. Despite long years of hard work, he is unable to renovate his house or send his sons to school. All he managed to do is to teach them the art of making bangles. He also admits that he doesn't know any other job than making bangles. Mukesh's grandmother was an elderly person. She lived in a half-built shack along with Mukesh and others in the family. She was a very practical woman. She was fully aware of what it meant being born in the family of bangle makers. She knew it was their destiny to follow the tradition of bangle making like it had been carried on for many generations. Being a part of the family of bangle makers, she had witnessed her own husband losing his eyesight from dust entering his eyes during the polishing of glass bangles. She thought of bangle making as a God given lineage which was difficult for them to part with. She knew and accepted that they were poor and did not have enough money to do anything else other than making bangles, and that they were under the grip of powerful people like sahukars, policemen, politicians, and were bound to live their life according to the wishes of these people. In every street of Firozabad, spirals of bangles of different colors can be seen, lying in the mounds, piled on four-wheeled handcarts, pushed by young men along the narrow lanes. Boys and girls with their fathers and mothers weld pieces of colored glasses into circle of bangles. They often end up losing their eyesights before they become adults. Then the narrator narrates a story of another girl named Savita. She sees a girl named Savita in Firozabad. Savita, a young girl in a drab pink dress, sits alongside an elderly woman soldering pieces of glass. The other wonders if she knows the sanctity of the bangles she helps make. The old woman sitting beside her has bangles on her wrist but no light in her eyes. She is devoid of all joys. The families are living here in the utmost state of poverty with not enough money to even eat properly. They have no choice but to carry on the business of bangle making with their little money. The other asks a young group to organize themselves into cooperative. She told that even if they get organized, it would be them only who would be beaten up, hauled, and dragged to jail for doing something illegal. They constantly talk of poverty, apathy, greed, and injustice. The other finds two different worlds in Firozabad. One of the family caught in a web of poverty, burdened by the stigma of caste in which they are born, and the other of a vicious circle of the sahukars, the middlemen, the politicians, and the bureaucrats. That's why our Mukesh grandmother didn't want Mukesh to harbor false hopes and aspirations which would be hard for him to achieve. With her assertion, she tried to prevent him from setting goals which he might not realize due to his adverse circumstances. She was concerned about Mukesh and was so with a deep sense of attachment she said these words, "It is his karam, his destiny." She didn't want him to feel bad when his expectations were not met. According to her, she was not a pessimist, rather a rational human being who had analyzed the trend of bangle making set in stone, invariably followed by their families for generations before she commented about Mukesh's destiny. His lineage and these bureaucrats and all, together they have imposed a baggage on the child, Mukesh, that he cannot put down. He accepts it as naturally as his father. He cannot dare to go against it. The other is filled with joy when she finds a flash of daring in Mukesh. The boy is filled with hope. His dream of becoming a motor mechanic is still alive in his eyes. Hope you understood the story. Here our character Mukesh wants to become a motor mechanic, but he is forced to follow the legacy of his father and forefathers. Like his father and forefather, he is becoming a bangle maker. So here comes the relevance of education. If children are rightly educated, if they are made literate, they will understand their rights and responsibilities, and they will start raising their voice against the injustice that happens in the society. So through this story, our writer Anis Jung is trying to bring that idea forward, making children educated. The relevance of making children educated. And she is raising voice against another injustice in the story, child labor. Now, do take down the notes given here. Don't forget to see the URL and write the test before 2 p.m. Thank you. We can meet in the next session. Bye.